let's get to our division previews. We make our way through breaking down each team, each division, how we see it playing out. We talked about the AFC and NFC West. We talked about the AFC and NFC South. We're going to do the AFC East and NFC North and save the AFC North and NFC East for next week, obviously, with Cavante coming back, who will be back next week as well. Let's start with the AFC East. D, I want to start with you. We pull up standings from last year, but we did have last year Buffalo Bills at 11-6 winning the division. Miami at 11-6 as well was the wild card. The Jets with Aaron Rodgers 4 plays in, he's out. 7-10 Patriots bringing up the rear, at 4-13. New coach Gerard Mayo, as you mentioned, probably a walk-in, dead coach walking possibly with the Jets if they don't get it done with Robert Saleh and all those guys. Tua just got paid, and Josh Allen is throwing to everyone up here on this panel.
You know, I hear a lot of people saying the Bills are being third. I'm not gonna go there yet. Wide receiver wise, Josh Allen's got to get some new chemistry with Stephon Diggs being in Houston. I like the Dolphins winning the East. It's going to be a tight race with them in Buffalo. I think it'd be a game separating the two. The Jets, I got to see it, man. Aaron Rodgers got to stay healthy. Got to see what they do. They got the defense to do it, but
not without Hassan.
I got to see the
not without Hassan, D.
I agree. And the Patriots.
I'm sorry. They it's a good defense. I give you that, but they're not going to be what they need to be without him being there.
I agree.
Yeah, I do.
I think they're third place team. I know Q's got the pom-poms, the green pom-poms out, but I think they're third place team still. And Patriots is definitely fourth, man. They got a lot. They got a lot of issues. Watching them last night. They couldn't protect Brissett. He went down. It's got a lot of issues, man. They went so many years. Brady and Belichick, they did their thing. Brady always pushed his money back. And now the Patriots are just paying for it now because you do pay for it eventually. And it's the time for the Patriots to pay for it. They was on top for a long time now. It's time to be at the bottom and work your way back up.
Go ahead, Raj. I'm going to you next, Raj.
Okay. Well, Buffalo. I'm not sure about Buffalo, man. I mean, they did lose Stephon Diggs. They lost a lot of other pieces in the backfield. A lot of their safeties are gone. They have a whole new, I think, receiving core as well because Gab Davis is left too. So Keon Coleman's that probably will be the number one receiver along with somebody else new.
I think they got Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I think.
Oh, good job. That's an upgrade. I mean, great, but yeah, man, I just don't see it with Buffalo. I think this is the year that they might be the third team that's in this division.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them making the playoffs. I just don't. I mean, Josh Allen is a good quarterback, but what has he been without Stephon Diggs and guys like Gabe Davis? He's been a turnover machine, of course, but without them, he's going to be even more of a turnover machine, and I just don't see it. Miami, I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they might win the division. They got the most high-powered offense in the whole AFC East for sure. So a lot of weapons there. I don't see a real drop-off unless injuries occur, of course. The New York Jets, I think they'll make a wild card run. I think they'll definitely be a wild card team if Aaron Rodgers can stay healthy. But I do think Aaron Rodgers will make a big difference on his team. Going in late for the season, I think he makes a resurgence of his career after being hurt all of last year. And I think the Jets finally sneak in somehow in the playoffs. I don't even want to talk about the New England Patriots. They have a lot of work to do. They got a lot of things that need to be done. Their offensive line's terrible. Their defense is average. And their quarterback, Drake May, he's okay, but he has nobody really to throw to. So they got a lot of work to do. I mean, I got Miami winning the division, maybe the Jets sneaking in late, but other than that, I don't see Buffalo going nowhere, and New England's going to stay in the last place.
Jersey Dre.
Like D said, the Jets, good team, but it still remains to be seen because We don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be healthy. I mean, that's a serious injury he's coming back off of. And then you got to factor in his age. Yes, they talk about how good he looks. And, we were talking about how the Jets seem to be, but it just in a blink of an eye went away when Aaron Rodgers went down. They can't even get it right with signing Hassan Reddick, who deserves his money. I mean, you traded for the guy and then you don't want to pay him his money. Just goofiness going on, continuation with the Jets. The Bills, they've taken a step back because who's Josh Allen going to throw the football to?
Who?
Patrick Mahomes was able to do it last year with a bunch of unknowns, but that can only last. But and Lamar Jackson been throwing to nobody as well
I know
for
it's
a
his
while.
entire career.
So, it's really an unknown when it comes to that team as well. So it might be Miami, and I think it's not going to be close. I don't think the Bills. If the Bills get in, they're going to be a bottom wild card team, like kind of how the Steelers were. I just don't see them advancing or getting that high. I know that Josh Allen's supposed to be the great white hope, and that a lot of people root for Josh Allen and feel sorry for Josh Allen ever since he lost to Patrick Mahomes. But at the same time, I just don't see, and I think it's also hard to see three teams come out of the AFC East when you also still have the AFC North, who all four teams could possibly come out when you look at playoff seeding, because that to me I think it's the toughest division. You have all those great quarterbacks there, while in the AFC East I don't see a bunch of great quarterbacks because you got Drake May, who's a rookie. You got Aaron Rodgers, who's older. I think the oldest right now quarterback in the league. You still got Josh Allen, and there's a lot of questions about Josh Allen. I know media they hype him up a lot, but when you compare Josh Allen to Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, like you start kind of gotta pedal back about Josh Allen when you see those other accolades for those other quarterbacks. And then the Dolphins, they still have questions. And then honestly, if the Dolphins want to make a run, they better get a home playoff game, because last year I think that was their detriment. I think if they had a home playoff game, they could have probably made a run in the playoffs. But we don't know how they'll be, because if they face a cold weather team, it's over for them. So Miami has to get the number one seed, and they have to get games at their place, because otherwise, if they take their talents on the road, they're not going to win a damn thing.
Dre, I'm gonna go back to you for the NFC North, but before I do that, let's look at last season, as we do have a lot of storylines in this division as well. Your team, Detroit, with Mr. Bite Kneecaps, Dan Campbell 12-5, Packers 9-8, Vikings and Bears both 7-10. We know Caleb Williams, number one overall pick. They added Keenan Allen, paid DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. They bought in Montez Sweat last year, drafted a bunch of pieces. They look to be on the upswing. He's looked good in the preseason as well as Mr. Williams. The Vikings were looking promising with JJ. He's out for the season. Sam Darnold will be QB1. Justin Jefferson just got paid. Green Bay Packers 9-8. They are the flavor of the season. Looking at the NFC, they are one of the teams a lot of people are picking to make a deep playoff run, possibly even get to a Super Bowl. We saw what they did to the Ravens. They have a lot of depth, it looks like, as well. And as I mentioned, the Lions 12-5 pretty much were a half away from the Super Bowl, Dre. Are you buying the Lions hype again, or do you see someone else in this division? Green Bay, Chicago, do they make a rise? And what happens with Minnesota after the injury?
This will sound like such a hot take. Put that camera on me. This is going to really sound like a hot take, but I think there's some truth behind it. I know a lot of people are picking Jordan Love to win MVP. I'm not going to go that far, but I do think the Green Bay Packers win the NFC North. I think that the Green Bay Packers or the LA Rams get to the NFC Champion Conference game. I do think that three teams come out of this division: the Packers, the Lions, and the Bears. I think the Bears make the playoffs. It'll be another low-seeded playoff run, but I think playoff seed. But I think that the Bears do make the playoffs narrowly. But I do favor Green Bay. I think that the Lions had a good season last year. I think that they'll make the playoffs, but it's not going to be like it was last year for them. I think it'll be a little harder road. While Green Bay will still continue to build on the momentum from last year and build upon those expectations. While the Detroit Lions, I feel like because of how they had such success, they'll have a little bit of a step back, but they'll still be able to make the playoffs.
D, I'll go to you, brother. How you feel like for the NFC North?
I agree with Dre. I think Green Bay will win the NFC North. This has become the toughest division in the NFC now, man. For many years, is the West. I think Seattle and Arizona's regressed backwards.
My gosh, have they regressed?
Especially Arizona. But Chicago definitely looked good. Caleb, and they put weapons around Caleb. He looks good. Minnesota just need a quarterback. Minnesota, the quarterback, man, they'd be right there too because you got Jefferson, you got Addison. The offense will be there. I think it's going to be Green Bay, Detroit, Chicago, Minnesota, and Detroit and Green Bay. I think they're going to be neck and neck, and it might come down to their second meeting to see who had that full tie break. And the Bears, I think, it'll be for them if they get in even as a 7 seed or 6 seed even. That's a very successful season for Chicago. And Minnesota going to be bringing up the rear. But if they can get any quarterback play, they're going to be a tough out. And don't be shocked, Minnesota. I think Minnesota definitely will at least win week 1 against the Giants because the Giants the Giants look bad. But hey, Minnesota going to be right there. They're going to be a competitive team. Be shot 8-9, maybe. 7-10, 8-9. They were 7-10 last year, and without quarterback play, could be the same. But they're going to be competitive. Should be an interesting division in the NFC North.
Go ahead. Last but not least, Big Raj.
All right, I got Detroit still winning the division. I think they're the most complete team in that division so far. Dan Campbell has finally turned it around. Got that team playing extremely well. I don't see them dropping off this season. Green Bay will make the playoffs again. They'll be right behind Detroit, neck and neck, as Dre said or D said. One of y'all said it. They'll be neck and neck. So Mr. Love will definitely be feeling the love.
And he got the money
and getting got the bread, for his efforts. I think Chicago will be number 3. I think they'll definitely have an improvement. Definitely with Caleb Williams. He's showing me in the preseason that he's going to be a baller. So, and with the subsequent weapons that he has, he should put up a lot of points. Now, about that defense, I'm not too sure about, but we shall see going forward. Minnesota's going to be last only because they lost J.J. McCarthy. And I don't have no faith in Sam Darnold at all. I think he's just a stepchild that's in there right now until he comes back next season. So I could be wrong. Maybe Sam Darnold will play well. Maybe he'll turn back into the USC version of Sam Darnold. Who knows? But I seriously doubt it. And I think that Justin Jefferson will be very angry by the time the season ends. So I got them 4th.
Well, we shall see how it plays out. Less than 2 weeks away. Sound off below. Let us know your thoughts on the AFC East and NFC North. Do you agree, disagree? How many teams make the playoffs? Any surprises? Any worst to first situations as well? Last but not least, we got to get some wrestling. We got D here.